I am going to have a webinar about how we find the destiny in crisis. It's coming up tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm preparing materials to apply for visa in the next few days and also go to the doctor and prepare, print everything. So lots of things up in the air. And tied to the seminar on finding the destiny in crisis, I personally am feeling kind of like the same to go through difficulty, but not losing the energy, the spirit, and moving forward. There are some thoughts that popped up that I thought I should share for whatever it is worth. At the bottom of all of this, I would say this that when you do your best with all you've got, thinking of the external and processing things internally, that's all we can do. And we should be able to face whatever comes given the situation. One thought that pops up is that whatever we do at the end, it's kind of like a waves sloshing around on the surface of the ocean, but the bottom of the ocean is calm and quiet. What's in the ocean in this analogy? If I can think about it, one way to put a word around it is that it's kind of like a world of unconsciousness. We don't know what makes us to live. Logically we can explain it, but every day how we live will all depend on what's going on in nature's way, what's expressed inside of us, and all the mechanics and all that we can investigate, but at the end we don't know. We depend on what we have accumulated as the knowledge, experiences, various preferences, and also to connect whatever way that we can connect to make the most of what it is, link to our action and do the best to go through the crisis. I thought about samurai warrior. The person's name is Musashi Miyamoto. He went through duels, I think 30, 40 times in his days, which is like 400 years ago. And he wrote a book. He also painted. He also shared the thing in various ways to the people. And I picture myself him going to one of the most famous battle that happened in the island near Kyushu, the south of Japan. He was a bit delayed for the battle and people waiting. And I put myself in his shoes. Whether you call it crisis or what, I don't know, I don't care. You face the imminent situation with what you've got. You prepare the best and you let the situation happen as it should. Not thinking so much, but letting things happen and let whatever the action you can take coming out of this, what I call the unconscious part of who we are. Because brain cannot do much work. Any imminent danger, including facing death or the battle or preparing for some kind of application, go through the bureaucratic process and the mails may be delaying and many things can happen and your future depends on that. If you think about the future and if you think about how you prepared, you don't know what you feel at the end because there may be still unknowns waiting. But we have to predict unknowns in a way and be prepared. So psychologically, how we place ourselves in such a situation is very important. We cannot allow the emotion or mind bothering in that state. We need to have a calm, quiet mind, facing whatever comes We just show what we can. So it's beyond almost like an individual's ability. You depend on whatever comes from within, given the situation coming outside. In Zen, as an example, when you visit the Zen temple, everything is well organized. You know where things are, how things are processed. Location may be named, and the function is clear without you asking the question. So the setting is such that almost like you have this mind prepared, the organization of the house and procedure well understood, and we just go through them, almost not using any of your mind. The training is let go of whatever pops up and just go with the flow, if that's the right expression. The flow of what comes naturally, yet being able to process things as you think is important as a part of the discipline to live in that environment. As I prepare things, I just realized that I was missing the slipper. And that kind of disturbed me because I couldn't find it. And it's about the time when I'm preparing the last day before the webinar or a couple days before this application deadline. So many things are up in the air. I have to process the information, organize things, and you have to get ready for that. And you don't have time to look for the slipper. Or in the case of the webinar, everything needs to be prepared. So you just go as it should, naturally as you prepared, and let it come, and have a question and answer session, and all of that. And the preparation for the document, for application, or whatever the bureaucrat may do, you just prepare everything you can. And there are many documents, and the printing, and authorization, or notarizing, and the printing more, and mailing, and paying the fee. Everything has to be done, and even with that, in my case, the mail delivery is causing the problem due to COVID-19. So I have to ask beyond whatever their usual practice. And whether they take that or not is unknown. And I have a deadline of September 25, then I have to leave this country unless this document and everything is processed prior to that. Still have time, but it's a very tight situation. I want to give them the time, therefore I'm mailing things early. And now I'm about to go through this in the next 3 days, and I couldn't find the slipper. And then I thought, well, in Zen temple there no such things happen. In the case of Musashi, Miyamoto Musashi, the warrior, you cannot have that kind of a thing bother you. So instead of jumping into whatever I thought I need to do, I need to revisit my mind, if it's calm or not, and also to figure out where the slippers are. I went upstairs, downstairs, this way, that way, couldn't find it. Disturbed me, but I kind of decided, well, let's see if I can do this, because that's the practice I have to do every single day, in every single moment, ideally, as much as it is practiced in the Zen temple. We should have a good organization when things happen, and that goes into the detail of such level that we should be prepared. And then having a good spirit and facing it, okay, you make the best judgment you can at the time and move on. So, to summarize the whole point I shared, I recognize going through crisis is not just for the moment, but it's a day-to-day practice of living our life. And if we are trained and habitually developed and understood and being able to do that, that would prepare us to go through that kind of environment, whether it's crisis or daily event. We need to have the principled way to live our life. So that's the key lessons I'm revisiting and clarifying, even though the papers are here and there, and the thoughts are here and there, and the priorities may be a little bit dubious in some cases. And as you get older, you may forget a few things, maybe more than a few things, and all that is the reality. One thing I should be able to do is to learn from this process, prepare myself, do the best I can, and let the things happen. In the presentation here too, I talked about the Ten-mei, order from heaven. It's kind of like an unconscious part of us that you are to connect to and let the situation to happen. In the case of Ten-mei, it is to find the destiny. The same thing happens, finding the destiny every day. And there's a certain level of preparation and discipline needed, and attitude and behavior habit that to be developed. And we keep practicing it. We keep practicing every moment, every day, every crisis. And even if not the crisis, we are to go through it, because life is a process of thriving, having a meaning that we can find in the process and move forward truthfully, sincerely, the best we can. So I'm not Musashi to face the battle, but I am myself, Kyo, to go through my life. And I can learn from the reference of Musashi how to prepare and how to be ready for the imminent challenge we may face. So my hope in this voice memo is to share this and let us confirm that we can go through it. Over years, the human being tried and tried to thrive and move on. We go through, each one of us. Perhaps we can learn from the lesson from others, and then lesson from identifying where the sleeper should be as a part of this whole equation. Thank you for listening. My very best for you to go through the crisis and find a destiny and live your life truthfully and sincerely.